Okay, so now this is the start of the Monitor APM weekly meeting. Dope has the first couple issues here, but he's not here, so I can vocalize them for him. First one is question if we want to cover the retrospective of 13.0 in the next meeting. So I don't know if people have thoughts on that. We talked a little last week about how to use some of the time during this meeting, and I think talking about some of the retrospective issues would be important. I think that'd be a good use of our time. Yeah, so I don't know if other people have thoughts on that.
I think it's a great idea. I think it will give the sense of the follow-up to the retrospective issues. So I think, yeah, it's a really good idea and use of it.
Good. Yeah, I think so too. And it's also a good reminder to everyone on this call to use that retrospective issue to add topics, things that went well or things that we can improve. That becomes very helpful, and then we can talk about it in this meeting next week and think about if there's some follow-up issues or items that we want to do. All right. The next one is, let's see, talking about the default dashboard and custom dashboard. I don't know if maybe Clement, you can talk a little bit more about this. I know you've been pretty involved.
Yes. So there is an issue that Dove created, talking a little bit about how, so I'll share my screen real quick. So this is an issue trying to get some feedback, I believe, from the team and what they think. But today, when it looks like, when you want to add a metric as a user, you kind of have this flow. You can either, go create a custom dashboard in the repo and, add the specific YAML files, or you can go to the default dashboard, click add a metric, which is more of the custom metrics flow. Actually, there's maybe even multiple ways to do this because there's the UI part and then there's the settings part. So recent conversation I've been having with Dove is more like, hey, in the future, it's actually quite challenging to support these two flows over a long period of time. Right now, the custom metrics over here allows you to add alerts. Custom dashboards don't have alert support right now. So at some point, we do want to make both of them have alerts to be, same parity. But is there, at a certain point, these two seem to be doing the same thing. So why not consolidate these into one flow where maybe we store in a custom dashboard. You can use the YAML or a modal, but kind of pushing users towards this flow rather than this other flow that stores directly to the database. That's kind of the discussion here, I believe. Yes, so the idea is that you have a way to add it through the YAML file, which is kind of our default thing that we've been investing a lot into right now, as well as having a modal kind of add metric instead of having that custom metrics be part of the flow. So a long-winded way is saying that custom metrics does a lot of the same things in the long term as kind of our custom dashboard solution. And we want to consider maybe creating a path towards removing the custom metric flow, not flow, but that feature in some ways in favor of something that's more robust. So I hope I did this justice, but hopefully that makes sense. Does anyone have any questions about this? Okay, I'll take the silence as no questions. I will reiterate that this is, go ahead.
Sorry. So in the second image, the proposed roadmap for default/custom dashboard, if you look at the first flow, it says go to metric dashboard, click on add metric, fill the missing information, click save changes. So this adds the new metric to the YAML file, I guess?
Yes, this diagram, unfortunately, is not the best. But yes, the intention is when you fill in the missing information, it saves to YAML file.
Okay. So it's like the custom metric workflow, but instead of saving to database, it saves to the file. YAML file.
Yes. Yes.
Okay.
That is how I perceive it. It could be there could be something else that I was thinking, but so let's ask that question here. But that's my understanding is we make kind of like how in CI YAML, that's kind of the driving factor for CI. It would be similar to dashboards, but the adding metric modal and that stuff is kind of like another interface abstraction to it. And yeah, I mean, there's discussion about how we can better load the YAML dashboard properties into the database, or maybe sync them in some ways to make them more like faster. I think that's also still a good idea. But yeah, and I do want to mention that here, this idea of kind of consolidating is not something we're trying to do like next release. It's just, trying to have those discussions for the future.
I just want to say this is probably a very good change because maintaining both those paths caused a lot of problems in the past.
Mm-hmm. Cool. Please comment and share that positive feedback on the issue. Yeah, I think I agree. I think that my understanding, I wasn't like super as involved when we added custom metrics, but I think custom metrics was added before we had custom dashboards as kind of a first MVC. But now we're in this weird loop where we're like supporting two flows, and I think it's costing us a lot. So I also think that this will make it easier, less confusing for users too, from a UX standpoint. So yeah, cool. Any other questions from other people? Cool. I wanted to say, I didn't finish typing this, but I wanted to say also congratulations to the team for an impressive 13.0. We shipped a whole bunch of things. So good work, everybody. A lot of awesome notable things, variables for dashboard, for the input field, as well as drop downs, and then single chart and dashboard, deprecating a bunch of things. I know we switched from liquid and then starring dashboard. So a lot of awesome wins. I don't know if some of y'all saw, but the variables for dashboards actually listed as a featured release post item. So usually I think every release blog post, there's like 4 or 5 notable features. So we made it to that list. So good work, everybody. Very, very proud of the success here. Cool. And then the next thing is,
one thing on that, in the retrospective issue that is linked above here, there's a list of all the things that shipped, and it's quite a long list. So it's pretty impressive. And that's just the list of deliverable labeled things. So yeah, it's just I second that it was pretty impressive how much we accomplished. So good job, everyone.
Well done, everybody. Cool. And then 360 reviews. Someone asked me about 360 reviews. I wanted to share on the weekly call. There's the link about more information. I know Dharaj asked about how many reviewers. All this is actually from the link, but it's not parsed in an easy way. So there is no like minimum or maximum based on the last time I did 360 reviews for a number of people, but you're trying to shoot for around 7. You want to get a wide range of people so you can get different perspectives, but you also don't want like, everybody to get live, because then that's a lot of work for everybody. And then, there's a law of diminishing returns too. When you get too many people, you might get conflicting feedback things. There is a deadline of May 25th, and that is when I think the deadline is May 25th, according to the handbook, is when they're sending them out to people. And I think that you cannot add people after the reviews request has been sent out. Any other questions for 360 reviews that I can maybe help answer now, or even Matt can answer? Okay. All right. I guess I'll take that as no question. Feel free to ask it on Slack if you have more questions on that too. Nikolai, you want to go for it?
Yeah, thanks. So I just want to invite again everyone to share their feedback. Around a month ago, I started the issue with the proposal onto how we organize the code base and how we are going, how it would help to place the features that we ship into the dedicated top-level namespaces inferred based on the product categories that would help identify the domain expertise, either everyone around GitLab, and also it will help us to find the parts of code base that we are going to maintain. And I have some time to follow up this milestone and created merge request, which describe the change as a first step to introduce it, and before it will go live or not go live, depending on the decision, I want to invite everyone to share the feedback.
And it looks like it's primarily for backend, right?
If you have the idea how to extend it for the front end, or if it could be useful for the front end, I'm more than open to cover the wide range. It is from the backend because I have more backend perspective. So feel free to extend it.
All right, thanks. Amy, you're up.
Yes. So rather than deal with small problems, I thought I'd deal with a really large one, a 6,000 word problem, actually. I have a proposal for one possible way to split apart the Prometheus page into multiple pages. What I will want to do here is get feedback from as many of you who are interested as possible fairly quickly, because changes flow into this page pretty much on a daily basis. I figured I have a short window after a release where maybe people will leave it alone for long enough that I can split it apart into about 5 pages and then go clean them up. If you have suggestions or you think the proposed IA hierarchy I've got is a good idea or a terrible idea, I want to know, because it's important to get that part right, at least the page URLs. Once we have the URLs in place, we can move stuff around if we don't get it right, but the URLs, changing them because of /help, it's a total pain. So I want to get this first part right and get it right as quickly as possible, because I know none of you love working on that page. Yeah, don't even try. So get in touch, let me know what your thoughts are, because you all have spent a lot longer being annoyed by this page than even I have. So let's make it right.
The plan appears to be to break down into index, panels, and variables under metrics/dashboards.
That was my first idea. I suspect we can get at least 2 more pages out of it, but I thought, let's just try to land something first. We can keep splitting afterwards if we find there are more topics that deserve separate pages. Just stopping the pain and stopping the bleeding is my first goal here.
Yeah, it sounds good to me.
Cool. All right.
Great. All
That's
right.
all I've got.
Thanks, Amy. Good. Any other topics that people would like to bring up today? Okay. Hearing none, then we can adjourn for the day. So have a good rest of the day, and we'll be talking soon. Bye, everyone.